Part 15. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 141. I saw you. A huge magic eye floated behind Xiao Zial, and its deadly rays shone at Ye Bai. Between him and Ye Bai, there were many classmates who were within the attack range of this ray. Wind's infinite distance. A gust of breeze blew by, and before everyone had time to figure out what was going on, a roar came from their ears. Withdraw. Ye Bai rushed to Xiao Zial in an instant, preparing to intercept the ray and let others run away. At this time, I no longer care whether my identity is exposed or not. It's important to save people. Ye Bai had dozens of lives on his body. Even if he was glanced at by the fourth demon god, he would only lose one life. If others are dead, then they are really dead. Boom. Before the black death light could be emitted, a skinny hand held it down and pushed it back. Stand behind me, kid. The black shadow floated in front of Ye Bai, blocking him from the gaze of the fourth demon god, and the hoarse voice of Master Ju came out. Do it. Without Yingju's reminder, the white clouds that had been floating in the sky suddenly sank, instantly covering the entire training hall. Except Xiao Zial, Ye Bai, and Yingju. The other people in the training hall were instantly shrouded in white clouds and fell to the ground unconscious. A strange voice sounded in the white clouds, 10 minutes. A beast-like roar came from the black mist. Good. They are masters and disciples, and they have a tacit understanding with each other. They can understand what the other person wants to express with just a few words. The black mist suddenly shrank and condensed into a humanoid shape, with a long knife at its waist. Then, the knife comes out like snow. Countless sword lights slashed out from the black shadow, fell on the demon eye, and cut out cracks. Cut again. Countless sword lights formed a prison, tightly confining the fourth demon god's projection demonic eye inside. Taking advantage of the gap between Master Ju and the projection of the fourth demon god, Ye Bai retreated violently. Since none of the students' lives were in danger, Ju Yu and Xiao Ao took action one after another, and the fourth demon god also showed his projection. In this battlefield, there would be nothing wrong with Ye Bai. The remaining person in the field made the same judgment as Ye Bai at the same time. Xiao Zial faced the opposite direction of Ye Bai, retreated sharply, and instantly reached the edge shrouded in white clouds. His face turned pale, can't get out. When the chessboard reached this point, Xiao Zial felt countless turbulence in his heart at the moment when the magic eye appeared. The fourth demon sect's main altar was destroyed, but the leader was injured but survived. He went into exile and finally landed here after many twists and turns. It's a bureau in itself. Please enter the urn. In this chess game, the fourth devil plays against Xiao Ao, and the rest are all pawns. For some reason, the fourth demon god is particularly wary of the existence of Shura and wants to get rid of it as soon as possible. Coincidentally, the human race thinks so too. I am the hook and the bait. Xiao Zial's face was extremely pale and bloodless. It's foolish of me to step on a horse. I should have thought of it a long time ago. There must be something wrong, something went wrong. In the flash of lightning, Xiao Zial's thoughts were extremely quick. He is an extremely smart person, looking back on all the details of his rebirth. There was no problem, he took every step very steadily, without any problem. Rebirth is the biggest problem. Beads of sweat as big as soybeans fell from Xiao Zial's forehead, and his pupils were slightly dilated, as if he had seen the most terrifying scene. In front of Xiao Zial's eyes, an old and sinister face seemed to appear, which was exactly what he looked like before his rebirth, Lian Liankan. Gigi's old face said with a smile, as if he was mocking Xiao Zial. Idiot, I have never had any attainments in the soul, so why can I come up with this trick of feigning death? You can still deceive Master Yingju, don't you think? This is all going too smoothly. If the most powerful person is not controlling everything behind the scenes, do you really think you can be reborn? You stupid thing, you can have 1/10 of my intelligence, and yet you die inexplicably. As one of the sequelae of rebirth, Xiao Zial suffered from schizophrenia and hallucinations. Clearly, this is not the time to be schizophrenic. Xiao Zial roared, "Get out!" forcing the old face to disappear from his eyes. In fact, what Lian Gan said was just an idea in Xiao Xiao Li's mind. His most fearful thought was just expressed through the other person's mouth. Now, everything is clear. This rebirth was originally completed under Xiao Ao's guidance. Whether it's Lian Gan or Xiao Xiao Li, these two identities have only one function: to connect with the fourth demon behind them. To fish, the fish must first be able to see the bait. With the help of Xiao Zial, the fourth demon god indeed saw a bait that he could not refuse. So the fourth demon god took action. He lowered his projection, but before he could make any move, he was jointly controlled by Yingzhu and Xiao Ao. It is unknown what Xiao Ao wants to do with the projection of the fourth demon. Anyway, it won't be a good thing. Xiao Zial's teeth couldn't help but tremble, and his whole body was shaking uncontrollably. Knowing the truth, he almost burst into tears. Not so torturous. If my guess is correct, the bait that can attract the fourth demon god. Xiao Zial raised his head and locked his eyes on the student opposite the training hall. The most powerful seed, Shura. Xiao Zial forced a sinister smile on his lips and took a deep breath. Or, classmate Ye Bai. When his identity was exposed, Ye Bai didn't panic at all, let alone retaliate. He just wants to do one thing now: run away. When gods fight, mortals suffer. The further away you are from the projection of the fourth devil, the better. Ye Bai didn't know what role Xiao Zial played in this game. Xiao Zial is a level 899 peak war king with astonishing combat power. His explosive combat power in the face of life and death is not even inferior to that of some gods of war. It is difficult to kill Xiao Zial instantly with just one thunderbolt. Ye Bai can be sure of one thing: Xiao Zial and himself are the same kind of people. People who try their best to survive. I surrender. Xiao Zial raised his hands and stared at Ye Bai. I will accept any punishment, even if it means killing me, I will accept it. Good. Unexpectedly, Ye Bai directly agreed to Xiao Zial's surrender. A line of prompts appeared above Xiao Zial's head. Killing this person can weaken the projection of the fourth demon god. Killing him will help Master Ju. It's just that Master Ju is too busy to take any action to deal with Xiao Zial. Come on Ye Bai. In the name of Shura, I sentence you to death. Thunder. The 30th floor is ready to go, blessed by thunder and lightning, and thunder falling from the sky. Boom. The red sea of thunder drowned Xiao Zial's figure and tore him into countless pieces. Thunder passes through, extinguishing life. When everything calmed down, Xiao Zial appeared again. Looking at Xiao Zial who came back from the dead, Ye Bai chuckled. Why am I not surprised at all? Nonsense, I wrote that he can be resurrected. Xiao Zial had a proud smile on his face and pointed around him. Those three fought together and left the two of us to fend for ourselves. A golden mask appeared around Xiao Zial, and he even took the initiative to say, I guess classmate Ye Bai can understand the function of this cover. After all, your talent should be related to your eyes. He is worthy of being a heroic figure. He can deduce the truth based on only the rare information. In front of Ye Bai's eyes, a light mask prompt appeared. Return from hell. After resurrecting from the dead, you will enter an invincible state for 10 minutes, unable to cause damage to the outside world, and cannot be harmed by the outside world unless you actively step out of the aperture range. This is Xiao Zial's confidence. It will take 10 minutes to decide the winner between the strongest and the devil, and half a minute has already passed. Xiao Zhiao sat on the floor. As long as I don't step out of this circle, what can you do to me? Well said. Ye Bai clapped his hands gently and cheered for Xiao Zhiao's performance. Then have you ever thought that since I know you have this resurrection skill, I still kill you? Does this mean I have a way to get you out of the circle of light? If Ye Bai wants to help Zhu and the others, he must solve the problem of Xiao Zhiao. It's a joke, are you saying that you can make me die? Xiao Zhiao shook his head like a rattle. Absolutely impossible, I'll show it off, you can do whatever you want. He didn't believe it, Ye Bai was definitely bluffing. Bluffing? You are still a bit immature. Next moment. When Xiao Zhiao saw clearly what was in Ye Bai's palm, his face changed wildly and he shouted hysterically. Where did you get this thing? Ye Bai held a broken staff in his hand. This is the staff that once belonged to Lian Liankan. It should be left in the safe house in Nanjiang City, next to Lian Liankan's son. After Lian Zheng was killed, he was taken away by his enemies. The staff is in Shura's hand, doesn't that mean? Xiao Zhiao's eyes were slightly red as he thought of some possibility. Then, Shura's voice seemed to have magic power, penetrating into Xiao Zhiao's mind. Ye Bai repeated word for word. No matter who you are, if you kill my own son, I swear to kill you. Even if I fall into endless purgatory, I will hold you back. Remember, this is the oath made by the god of war with his life as a bet. These words were spoken by Lian Liankan to his son-killing enemy. It's word for word, even the tone of voice is exactly the same. It's you. Xiao Zhiao stood up, his eyes were red, and he growled and stepped forward. It was you who killed my own son. It was you who caused my death. It's you who brought me into the game. He stood on the edge of the aperture, with only one step to take before stepping out of the aperture. Old and new hatreds welled up in my heart, heartbreaking and furious. It's me. Ye Bai threw the broken staff aside, raised his index finger at Xiao Zhiao, and sneered. I am here. Do you dare to come out and fight? Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 142. Standing at the edge of the circle of light, Xiao Zhiao looked like an enraged beast, with messy hair and red eyes, staring at Ye Bai. He burst out laughing suddenly. You killed Lian Liankan's son, what does it have to do with me, Xiao Zhiao? After saying that, Xiao Zhiao took a few steps back, returned to the middle position of the aperture, and sat down cross-legged again. Let me guess, Ye Bai, you should have some kind of buff bonus, so you have super high damage in the thunder system. Xiao Zhiao's eyes flashed red, his hands were crossed, his fingers were clasped tightly, and his knuckles turned white. This kind of buff must have a time limit. If I don't go out now, your buff will disappear soon. Being able to instantly kill a level 899 peak Battle King, Shura's explosion is really surprising. However, when one considers that the other party is the most powerful seed, it seems normal to be able to do such a thing. Xiao Zhiao's predecessor, Lian Liankan, knew many secrets and was familiar with the story of the rise of the strongest. At least, at the same time, Wuhan could do the same thing as Shura. After being killed once and resurrected using Return from Hell, Xiao Zhiao himself paid a heavy price. The level dropped directly to level 100, the body entered a period of weakness, and various attributes were greatly reduced. Now that he is out of the aperture, Xiao Zhiao may be able to trade with Shura for one, but it can only be 1 for 1. He still has a life. Who knows how many lives Shura has left? If you use your brain a little, you will know that if you walk out, you will get it for free. Listening to Xiao Zhiao's analysis, Ye Bai looked at the stack of more than a dozen layers ready to go. Ye Bai, wonderful and wonderful. Xiao Zhiao's idea is indeed correct. The lightning blessing on Ye Bai will soon disappear, which means that Ye Bai will not be able to kill Xiao Ziyao instantly again. But with the stacking of Wind Fury, Thunder Specialization, etc., the stack of ready to go will be full very quickly. If Xiao Ziyao continues to delay, it will be beneficial to Ye Bai. I will never go out of this circle. Xiao Ziyao pointed to the edge of the aperture and said, for a person like me who is greedy for life and afraid of death, if I can live for 10 more minutes, I will live for 10 more minutes. The battle between Xiaoao, Yingju, and the fourth demon god takes 10 minutes to determine the winner. The invincibility effect of return from hell can only last 10 minutes. Xiao Ziyao even took out a bottle of red wine and savored the last afterglow of his life. After the provocation, Ye Bai took the initiative to distance himself from Xiao Ziyao. Since the other party refused to come out, Ye Bai would do the next best thing and save himself. It would be best to kill Xiao Ziyao. Even if you can't kill him, Zhuyi and Xiaoao join forces to deal with the fourth demon, and the chances of winning are very high. Xiao Ziyao sipped her red wine and shook her head slightly, looking carefree and unrestrained. Actually, the old face appeared before him again. Lian Liankan roared extremely angrily, veins popping out on his sinister face, like venomous snakes crawling. Kill him! Kill him! My son died at his hands, and I died because of him. Now that your mortal enemy is right in front of you, why do you have any hesitation? Kill! 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 He is only level 108. Although you are also a waste at level 799, killing him is enough. One of the disadvantages of mental illness is, although the brain can make rational judgments, it does not mean that every personality can be rational. Obviously, the lingering spirit took a fancy to the opponent's clumsy provoking method, and clamored to go out and give it to him for free. Xiao Ziyao was too annoyed by the noise from Lian Liankan and growled. Shut up, you damn old man. Brush. 3 eyes fell on Xiao Ziyao. Xiaoao, Yingju, and the fourth demon god, would you like to curse again? Being able to offend the 3 strong men present with just one sentence was a level of ridicule that Ye Bai was ashamed of. Xiao Ziyao didn't realize it and was still talking to himself. You still have the nerve to talk about your good-for-nothing son. With just one word, he made you, a meritorious war king, fall into a member of the demon cult. There is no way back. Being a meritorious war king is an honor. In addition to accumulating military exploits, there are also many harsh conditions. Ye Bai was a little curious. What did Lian Zheng say that could make Lian Liangan slip into the abyss? After I was reborn, I found out that I was a member of the demon cult. Do you know how desperate I was? I also want to be a good person when riding a horse. Only good people can survive. Did you give me a chance? Xiao Ziyao spit out bloody phlegm and cursed fiercely. You want me to risk my life to avenge your son? Dreaming. When your son appeared in front of me, I was the first to stab him. In Xiao Ziyao's field of vision, he was scolding Lian Liankan. In Ye Bai's field of vision, Xiao Ziyao was going crazy. Is this what the legend says, when you go crazy and even curse yourself? Ye Bai hid far away, and all life-saving props were in a semi-activated state, ready at any time. However, Ye Bai looked at Xiao Ziyao in the circle of light, thoughtfully. This man's desire for survival was no worse than Ye Bai's. No matter who wins, there will be no good fruits for Xiao Ziyao who stays where he is. For the fourth demon god, young men like Xiao Ziyao are dispensable. There is no need to spend a lot of effort to take him away from here. There is a high probability that he will be left here to fend for himself. When Yingju took action, the first thing he did was to hack Xiao Ziyao to death. Master Zhu always believed that it was his shame not to be able to kill Lian Liangan with one sword. For this reason, Xuemeng's life almost cost him. If given the chance, Master Zhu wouldn't mind killing Xiao Xiaolei more times. but the Xiao Ziyao in front of Ye Bai was not in a desperate state yet. In other words, Xiao Ziyao believed in his heart that he still had a glimmer of hope. How can there be hope in a situation of certain death? A name emerged in Ye Bai's heart. Xiaoao. Xiao Ziyao actually pinned his hope of survival on Xiaoao, the strongest human race. Although this idea is absurd, it is also the only explanation. Ye Bai glanced at the time. There are 8 minutes left, and the winner will be decided over there. Xiaoao's words of 10 minutes before were heard by everyone present, including Ye Bai. However, when he heard these 3 words, Ye Bai thought deeply and thought of some possibility. Xiao Ziyao tasted the red wine carefully, waiting for the final judgment to come. Life or death, it all depends on what Xiaoao thinks in his heart. Xiao Ziyao knew very well that no one could really understand what the most powerful Xiaoao was thinking. Even Xiaoao's master Yingju doesn't know. If Xiaoao were replaced by any other powerful person, Xiao Ziyao knew very well that he would have absolutely no hope of survival. It doesn't matter, there are still more than 7 minutes. Just as Xiao Ziyao was counting down the time for his life, the white clouds gathered suddenly, completely covering the middle magic eye. The slightly thin black mist also stopped its hand, stopped slashing, and took a big breath on the side. What happened? Xiao Ziyao was dumbfounded and couldn't understand the changes in the field. Didn't we agree on 10 minutes? How could it be finished so quickly? Idiot. Ye Bai, who was standing farthest away, was not surprised at the development of the situation, and even had the leisure to laugh at it. You really believe it after 10 minutes, are you so honest? Xiao Ziyao. Grass. The strongest man does not respect martial ethics. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 143. The strongest person does not talk about martial ethics. Come to cheat, come to sneak attack Xiao Ziyao. It originally had 10 minutes of life left, but its cooling was reduced by 70%. It's good now, it's over. Hee hee. To Xiao Ziyao's left is Baiun Xiaoao, to his right is Black Mist Yingju, and directly opposite is Ashura. He was ready to deliver his last words, if given the chance. To Ye Bai's expectation, Xiao Ziyao took the initiative to step out of the light barrier and left the invincible range. No one dares to claim to be invincible before the most powerful. Xiao Ziyao gave himself a step up and some dignity. He bowed to the black mist. Sin General Lian Liankan has met, the 9 masters. Then he turned toward the white clouds and bowed again. The villain Xiao Ziyao has seen the most powerful person Xiaoao. Call. Xiao Ziyao let out a long breath and felt a lot more relaxed. Finally, he said the name of the most powerful person, at least he didn't give up. Among the people in the demon cult, he is the most knowledgeable. After doing all this, Xiao Ziyao looked straight ahead and said with a relaxed smile. Classmate Ye Bai is still here. Have you eaten? Ye Bai. Isn't this difference in treatment a bit too big? In 3 sentences, Xiao Ziyao actually said it in 3 identities. The guilty general, the villain, teacher. Xiao Ziyao clapped his hands. Now that I've seen it all, I should die. At this moment, he truly wanted to die. The projection of the 4th demon god was controlled by Xiaoao, and half of the human race's plan was completed. Win first. If Xiao Ziyao was alone with Xiaoao, he felt that he might still have a chance of survival. But Yingju was present, especially when he felt that Yingju exuded a strong murderous intention. Yingju and Xiaoao master and disciple were a combination more than 30 years ago. No matter who Yingju wanted to kill, Xiaoao always struck cleanly and never showed any mercy. Xiao Ziyao knew that he would never survive. Yingju spoke again, seeming to regard Xiao Ziyao as nothing, and looked at Baiyun. Are you going to finish it off? Good. The white clouds dispersed again, covering everyone, and then quickly retracted. Part of their memory was erased, and everyone's bodies stood up from the ground and resumed their previous postures. When they wake up again, they won't notice anything strange, not even the disappearance of a few minutes. Like taking a nap. No one will remember what happened, and Shura's true identity will remain a secret. Nothing happened. After Xiaoao finished all this, Yingju spoke again. 4. 3. Good. The conversation between the two was like playing a riddle. But that didn't stop Ye Bai from understanding it. This war actually involves 3 demon gods. Ye Bai quickly calculated in his heart. Judging from Xiao Ziao's concurrent duties, the 3rd, 4th, and 6th demon gods are all involved in the scheme. I don't know how many will die in the end. The 4th demon god's projection has fallen into Xiaoao's hands. As for what he will use this projection to do in the future, there is no need to report to Ye Bai. After a brief chat, Yingju looked at Xiao Ziao again. Is it useful? Xiaoao, it's useless. Kill him. Yingju's voice grew colder. Master Ju never remembers overnight grudges and always takes revenge on the spot. Good. The 8-character conversation sealed Xiao Ziao's life and death. Baiyun faced Xiao Ziao and said calmly. You still have a chance to say a word. After saying that, Baiyun floated away with his sealed magic eyes. Ye Bai looked at Master Ju curiously and asked with his eyes, what does this mean? Yingju shook his head. If he could fully understand what Xiaoao was thinking, he would be the most powerful Yingju. Xiao Ziao didn't think much about it and simply understood it literally. Just leave a last word. So humane. Is there anything more merciful than leaving a last message before cremation? What can I say? Xiao Ziao, who should have been decisive and ruthless in killing. On his deathbed, he became sentimental. He wanted to ask, if he didn't say this, would he never die? That Xiao Ziao is willing not to speak for the rest of his life and to be a mute for the rest of his life. Live well, doesn't it smell good? 10. A thoughtful countdown sounded in Xiao Ziao's ears. Obviously, not everyone can get stuck. Countless thoughts appeared in Xiao Ziao's mind, and his short life flew by in front of his eyes like a revolving lantern. In a sense, he is not Lian gone, but a brand new soul, a lucky person who has just been in the world for less than a week. Oh no, unlucky ghost times, yes. Should he curse angrily and curse everything that happened to him? Lian's face appeared in front of Xiao Ziao's eyes again. That old and sinister face sneered at him, watching Xiao Ziao's desperate end with cold eyes. Although this old face said nothing, it seemed that it said everything. Xiao Ziao shook his head. He disdains this kind of serial behavior. 5. In a blink of an eye, 5 seconds passed. Half your life is wasted on your past life. Even if the old guy dies, it won't make people worry. Xiao Ziao's brain, which should have been extremely agile, was now like a rusty machine, extremely slow and rattling. He felt that no matter what he said, it was as if he didn't say it. For a moment, he resented Xiaoao extremely. Wouldn't it be better to just kill me? Why bother taking off your pants and farting? Why do you still ask me to leave a last message? Soon, he was relieved again. At least I still have a chance to leave a last message, which is better than having nothing at all. Think about those villains who often die from talking too much. I died because I didn't talk much. 1. At the last second, Xiao Ziao looked at the person closest to him. Coincidentally, it was a new student he had a good chat with before. From Nanjiang No. 3 Middle School, A-level talent, Zhang Yun. After the white clouds dissipated, Everyone's previous memories were modified and they woke up from the coma. Zhang Yun happened to open his eyes at this moment and saw Teacher Xiao smiling at him. Teacher Xiao's lips moved and slowly opened. This simple movement seemed to take away all his strength, and a weak sound came out of his throat, even with a vibrato. He said word for word, "Study well and be a good person." Xiao Ziao's last words were neither hysterical, angry, self-defeating, or repentant. Nothing at all. With a sense of relief, he exhorted his students like a real teacher. Although he had just known this student for less than 30 minutes. Although he only worked as a teacher for a few days. Study hard and be a good person. These were his last words. Neither Lian Lianqin nor Xiao Ziao really accomplished these two things. But it was passed down as his last words. After saying that, Teacher Xiao's figure began to fade away, disappearing into the world little by little without any trace of his existence. Whether it was Lian Lianqin, the leader of the fourth demon sect in his previous life, or Xiao Ziao, the leader of the four major demon sects in his current life, or Mr. Xiao at his deathbed. No matter which identity, which body, which soul, at this moment, they are completely dead. When a person dies, his soul is extinguished and disappears into smoke. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 144. Study well and be a good person. Zhang Yun felt a strange voice ringing in his ears, and the face in front of him gradually blurred. Who is he? Do I know him? What does this sentence mean? There were too many doubts in Zhang Yun's mind, like a mess with no clue. Soon, a rapid alarm sounded, interrupting Zhang Yun's thinking. Dip dip dash. A rapid but regular siren sound. The first moment they heard this voice, Feng Dong and others' expressions changed drastically. Highest level emergency response. They had heard this kind of alarm several times during exercises. When the highest level emergency alarm sounds, it means one thing. The demons from the abyss once again set foot on the land of Blue Star. All the seniors and seniors took action immediately. Feng Dong rushed to Ye Bai's side, protected Ye Bai behind him, and growled. Brother Bai, be alert. With that said, he threw a teleportation scroll to Ye Bai. After tearing it open, it can appear thousands of miles away. Brother Bai, you can use it according to the situation. Don't worry about me, I have more of this. As he spoke, he looked at everything around him vigilantly, as if facing a formidable enemy. Feet directly lifted Zhao Lin up, just like lifting a chicken. The petrified armor emerged from Zhao Lin's left arm, forming a special protective shield that completely protected Zhao Lin. A huge mecha appeared at the feet of the left spiritual machine. Lu Sueki was thrown into the cockpit before she could react. The mecha enters the pre-ignition state. As long as the left spiritual machine gives a command, it can eject and start, allowing Lu Sueki to take off in a spiral and escape. Similar situations occur in every corner of the training hall. Zhang Yun looked around confusedly, confused and unable to understand the situation. In the end, what happened? The highest level emergency alert means the enemy is close at hand. A teacher came forward to gather all the newcomers, and while activating the teleportation array, he explained. You will be in a safe place soon. There is no need to panic. Pay attention to order. Teacher, why are those seniors reacting so hard? Someone asked Zhang Yun's doubts. After hearing the siren, the seniors reacted surprisingly unanimously, trying to protect their corresponding juniors and juniors as much as possible. This is the content of the drills they have received, and it is also the life and death contract they signed during this special training. The teacher looked outside with a slightly stern look on his face. When the highest level alarm is sounded, they must protect their juniors and juniors. Everyone here may be Shura. To take a step back, even the vast majority of people cannot be Shura. The strong also have the responsibility to protect the weak, right? As he said that, the teacher looked outside the training hall. These teachers are not idle either, activating the teleportation array as much as possible. Various situations have been considered in the summer camp's plan, and there are complete response plans for emergency evacuation. However, no one thought that the plan would actually be implemented. The sirens continue. Ye Bai stood behind Feng Dong, his face expressionless. Regarding the fourth demon god, Xiao Ziyao, no one present except him knew. The most powerful Xiao Yao left, and so did Zhu Ye, heading straight for the battlefield of the abyss. Ye Bai knew very well that no matter where he was, he would become the center of the battlefield. In other words, Ye Bai ostensibly needs to cooperate with the retreat of the large forces. In fact, Ye Bai is going to secretly return to the eternal forest and quietly surprise everyone. The teleportation array is ready. The students from the two universities, Imperial City and Magic City, were all familiar with each other and formed a temporary team instantly, with a few people being designated as leaders by default. Feng Dong and Feet are among them. Me first. With that said, Feet jumped into the teleportation array and entered it first to determine whether there was any risk. 10 seconds later, Feet returned from the teleportation array. The petrification of his left arm had been lifted, and Zhaolin was nowhere to be seen. Safety. After Fit, 2 more people entered the teleportation array to check the safety. After everything was correct, 1/3 of the people present were finally teleported away. The same process was repeated twice more, and in less than 3 minutes, all students in Area A and Area C were transferred. The only ones left behind are seniors and seniors like Feng Dong. Ye Bai was among the last group to leave. Before he left, he asked, "Brother Dong, aren't you leaving?" "I do want to leave." Feng Dong still looked carefree, spreading his hands. "It's so hard to die that I passed the 9th level general certification. The highest level of emergency, all generals must respond unconditionally." After saying that, Feng Dong waved his hand and interrupted what Ye Bai wanted to say. "Brother Bai, go ahead. Your brother Dong, I am very powerful. Even the King of War may not be able to kill me. Besides, Feet is blocking the way." The teleportation array flickered, leading Ye Bai's last group of students away. Area A has been evacuated. Area C has been evacuated. According to the established plan, initiate the self-destruction procedures of the teleportation arrays in Area A and Area C. Against the background of continuous explosions, Feng Dong glanced at the 1,000 people in front of him and said in a deep voice, "Everyone, join the Academy's Legion on the spot and wait for orders from the command center." Promise. Feng Dong and his group were already the strongest in their grade, and what they said was in line with the emergency response manual, so there was no objection. Soon, the order from the command center was transmitted to everyone's watch. "All assistant students in Area A and Area C, please rush to the coordinates at the designated time after destroying the corresponding teleportation array and participate in the Eternal Forest's assistance in defense. We are about to face a wave of warrior-level monsters, so we need to build fortifications on the spot." Group teleportation. Feng Dong gave an order, and lights immediately lit up in several directions, teleporting 1,000 people to the designated coordinates. Now it is still the prelude to the war, and they can also use teleportation magic. Once a real war breaks out, the entire Blue Star will restrict the use of teleportation magic, and only the constructed super-large magic circle can operate. This is done to prevent monsters from rushing to Blue Star and teleporting away as soon as possible to cause destruction in major cities. When teleportation is banned, every inch of soil will be repeatedly sawed by both sides, paying the price of blood and lives. War has always been cruel. Brush. A white light flashed, and Ye Bai and others were teleported to a safe house. The facilities here can stop ordinary gods of war, and are absolutely safe under normal circumstances. As long as Ye Bai doesn't stay here. Standing in the corner, Ye Bai took out a puppet. Stand in doll. Ye Bai, who looked dull and sleepy, was leaning against the wall, as if he was asleep. The real Ye Bai tore open the teleportation scroll he had prepared and left the safe house without anyone noticing. The arrangement that Master Ju mentioned before. Regarding Ye Bai going to the battlefield, Ye Bai and Ying Ju reached a consensus. If Ye Bai hides in the rear, the Abyss Plane may bypass the Eternal Forest and invade Blue Star through other channels, which will make the human race more passive. Ye Bai must appear in the Eternal Forest and wander on the battlefield. But the question is, in what capacity? Lone Wolf? The lone wolves in the wolf lair must join the Legion to be eligible to go to the battlefield. Ye Bai acted as a lone wolf, which was really eye-catching. Disguise your identity and join the Legion? It's too difficult to handle, and it's not easy to ensure Ye Bai's safety. Finally, Ju came up with a perfect solution. Disguised as a member of the Shadows. You can do this with your Nightmare Wind. I'll put you in Shadow's expedition team and make you the vice captain. Is that okay? That's what Master Ju said. When Ye Bai arrived at the meeting point, he found that there were only two people in the so-called expedition team. Captain and vice captain. A purple shadow had obviously been waiting for a long time. Wrapped in the wind of nightmare, Ye Bai's entire figure was like a black shadow. Zing asked angrily, "Shadow, general level, 4399. Right." Ye Bai showed the corresponding token, which matched the other person's token. Zi Yingzhong's voice was extremely vicissitudes of life, with a bit of hoarseness, and it was obvious that he had experienced the world for a long time. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." Ye Bai looked at Zing, who had a delicate and clean face, sharp short hair, and sharp eyes, a bit like a tomboy. She popped up note after note. Shadow 7, Zhao Zian, leave 985. 26 years old, single, never been in a relationship, female, likes male, imaginary enemy, Shura. Skills mastered, wins infinite distance, wind shadow kill. Ye Bai. Is there something wrong? Ying Qi, who calls himself an old man, is actually a 26-year-old young lady? Ying Qi spoke again, continuing to create his own image of an enigmatic old strongman. Now that you're here, let me fight to your heart's content. It's a long-lost battle. What's going on with this damn second line? Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 145. At the edge of the Eternal Forest, Ye Bai looked at the purple smoke in front of him and fell into silence. I always feel like something is wrong. Shadow General 4399, this name is too difficult to pronounce. Ying Qi frowned, pretending to be mature and said. Why don't I call you Xiaojiju? Puff. Ye Bai almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. What the hell is this name? Master Ying Qi, I am also called Death Song. You can just call me Death Song. Death Song, okay. Ying Qi suddenly asked, is it because your singing is terrible that you are called that? Before Ye Bai could answer, Ying Qi hurriedly explained. I have a friend who sings very poorly, and was also called the Death Song. Boy, you remind me of my old friend from more than 50 years ago. Hey, what a nostalgic time of war. Ye Bai, more than 50 years ago, you didn't even have protein. The friend you are talking about could not be you, right? Ye Bai said bravely. Master Ying Qi, should we carry out the mission first? There's no rush. We've just blown the horn now, and there's still some free time before the real battle begins. Ying Qi said very naturally. You don't have to be so restrained, the shadows are all called brothers and sisters. If you don't mind, just call me Qi Yet. Seventh Master? You can go back a little bit. Look at me, Master Jew, I can kill Shwemeng with one knife. I can even punch the projection of the fourth demon god. Only when you are at this level can you call me master. Yabai said politely, hello, seventh brother. Jajaja. Yang Chi burst into a burst of villainous laughter and said seriously. Boy, if you want to call me seventh brother, you must at least become a film level 1. You are only a general now, so you are far behind. By the way, without any curiosity, how old are you? Yabai resisted the desire to complain and said seriously, I won't be 19 this year. In fact, he had just turned 18. So young. Yang Chi couldn't help but exclaimed. If Death Song is not lying, he is less than 19 years old and has a Shadow General ranking of 4,399. He is basically a 9th level warrior and is only one step away from the King of War. I don't even dare to lie in front of the God of War. In fact, Death Song's information shows that he is good at thunder and wind skills, and the explosion of thunder is comparable to that of the King of War. Zhao Zian recalled that year. When she was 19 years old, she had SS level talents, that is, she had mastered the wind, space, blood, and killing systems, and her combat power was comparable to that of a peak war king. Just an ordinary assassin. Death Song is only 2 levels worse than what he was back then. Yang Chi adjusted his mood and said calmly. If I guess correctly, your talent should be above S level, right? Yabai answered honestly, yes. He is very honest and never lies. It's a pity that I joined the shadows at such a young age. Ahem, I have a close friend's granddaughter, who is only in her early 20s this year. If you have time after the war, you can get to know her and learn from each other. Yabai. This granddaughter of your best friend is talking about you, right? I said I was in my early 20s when I was 26 years old. I really belong to you, seventh brother. Yabai had to remind him again, Brother Chi, we still have a mission. I told you not to rush, young man, it's not okay to lose your temper. Yang Chi saw Death Song's impatience and explained a few more words. We are responsible for guarding the eternal forest. According to common sense, there will never be an abyss monster here. She pointed to the middle of the forest. After the front line begins, all legions in the large abyss plain are stationed. At the same time, when the garrison strength of the small and medium-sized abyss plains is vacant, monsters will escape and rush to the eternal forest. In the final analysis, the human race still lacks military strength and cares about one thing at the expense of the other. If you want to start a war, you must mobilize all your forces to focus on defense or offense, and you must abandon some insignificant abyssal plains. Yabai keenly caught a word, Zeman. Yes, you are still young, so it is normal not to know. Yang Chi's face was full of excitement and eager to try. Over the years, as a newcomer, she has been taught a lot of common sense by the old guys. She, Yang Chi, finally got through it today, and she was able to say this to a rookie, you're still young, so it's normal not to know. Look after the kids. Yabai raised his eyebrows, don't know? You look down on my SSS level talent eye of insight. I have one thing to say, just a passerby, not a fight, I definitely wouldn't be able to bear it if it were me. Lines of information appeared in front of Yabai's eyes. On the day the bloody battle ended, Nightmare, the strongest human race, signed an agreement with the supreme demon god of the abyss. In large abyssal plains, humans can only station up to 3 legions. Each legion can be equipped with up to 3 war gods and 12 war kings. The war god of the human race cannot enter the abyss without any reason. In exchange, the demon god cannot take action against the human legions, and the strongest human race cannot take action against ordinary monsters. Looking at the information in front of him, Yabai calculated 3 legions, 9 war gods, and 36 war kings. There are 13 large abyssal plains in total, requiring 117 war gods and 468 war kings. This number must be enough for the human race. Just inside the shadow, there are 100 god of war level warriors. But the problem is that due to quota restrictions, the human race will definitely send out the strongest 117 gods of war. At the same time, we also need to consider various situations such as the command of legion operations, professional restraint relationships, reserve forces, etc. Through precise calculations by experts hailing from the Legion Command Center, 117 war gods were finally determined to station in the large abyssal plain. Among these 117 war gods, there are top experts like Xue Meng, Ying Yi, and Su Qingfeng, and they are also the top beings among the 9th level war gods. But the weakest person is only the 6th level god of war. Just from this point, you can see how rich the human family is. Not even 117 9th level war gods can be found. In addition, there are various important places that need to be guarded by the god of war, and the combat command center also needs the god of war to guard just in case. The human race has only this little wealth and is well equipped for defense. Once it wants to launch an attack, it seems to be stretched thin. There is nothing better than doing a dojo inside a snail shell. Yabai frowned and realized something else. This agreement only said that the devil cannot take action against the human army. In other words, the devil can take action against the most powerful. The war has begun. Will the second brother in the abyss plane have to face the siege of several demon gods? I'm so worried about my second brother. Yabai frowned, showing a mournful expression. I'm really worried that my second brother won't be able to kill enough. What should I do? Urgent, waiting online. The third abyssal plane is also known as the Abyss of Tongues and Juayan. Today, we received an uninvited guest. The swordsman in white walked into the third abyss, followed by the sword slave carrying the sword box. When he appeared, all the human legions began to evacuate. Countless people passed by the swordsman in white, with fanatical expressions on their faces, and the crowd was agitated. Waves of overwhelming shouts erupted from the queue. Wilhen! 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 The most powerful person has no trace. Take the 9 sword slaves and conquer the third abyss. In the past 60 years, if Wilhen appeared in any abyss, the human legion in that plane would retreat, change defenses and rest. The responsibility of guarding this plane is taken over by the sword slave. The 9 sword slaves are all 9th level war gods and can serve as thousands of troops. No monster can break through their defenses. Standing on a hillside, the breeze picked up a few strands of black hair, blowing Wilhen's sword robe, like white clouds floating. Wilhen raised his hand and flicked the sword lightly. The sound of swords resounded throughout the world. Wilhen asked softly. We have a visitor, where is the master? At the bottom of the abyss, there seemed to be an indescribable terrifying being awakening, roaring angrily. Wilhen, you go too far in bullying the devil. Do you really think that we don't dare to break out of the abyss and fight to the death with your human race? Wilhen lowered his head and chopped off hundreds of millions of sword lights. Boom! Between the heaven and the earth, there were countless sword energy, and the sky suddenly sank, as if it was a little shorter and was cut out of thin air. The entire plane began to shake violently. You are so arrogant, have you ever asked about my sword? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 146. The outskirts of the eternal forest. At Yebai's feet lay the corpses of several monsters, each one cut into 1.08 million pieces. The deceased was emotionally stable and even gave Ying Qi a thumbs up. He and Ying Qi were chatting earlier when these monsters suddenly rushed out. And Ying Qi, who kept saying there will be no monsters at this time, felt like he was being slapped in the face and became angry with shame. So I made a few more cuts. Yabai looked at the corpse and whispered. This is a monster from the Golden Bone Abyss plane. Impossible. Yang Qi subconsciously retorted and stepped forward to take a closer look. It is indeed the Golden Bone Abyss. Strange. Brother Qi, what's weird? As someone who wants to show off his knowledge, Yang Qi will not miss every opportunity to popularize science on Death Song. You're still young, so it's normal not to know. Yang Qi cleared his throat. The plane of the Golden Bone Abyss is valuable and specializes in C-grade ores. Although it is only a small plane. Yabai, is C-grade ore worthy of being called a specialty product? From what Yang Qi said, the strategic value of the Golden Bone Abyss plane is not low, and it is the kind where legions are usually stationed there. Even after the war begins, the human race will not give up easily. After all, the production of ore is crucial to the human race. Looking at it like this, the Golden Bone Abyss plane should have been abandoned. Shadow 7 whispered. She didn't understand why this change happened. Yabai, if you don't understand, ask me. I knew. Obviously, with Yabai's high-quality ore supply, the human race's ore needs have changed. The originally extremely important Golden Bone Abyss plane has become extremely useless, and its strategic value has dropped to a low point. It is also reasonable to withdraw the stationed legion. Kanaya Abyss, so, love will disappear, right? Look carefully. Shadow 7 pointed at the slices of the monster's corpse and introduced. Their bones have a little silver in them. When these are extracted, they are C-grade ores. Yabai glanced at it, not very interested. Oh. Why are you still standing there? Scratch your bones quickly. Yang Qi was very surprised. Don't you usually collect trophies from killing enemies? Ah, isn't this appropriate? Yabai has always felt that scraping bones and skin doesn't match his temperament very well. He never does this kind of thing. It's best to let others do the job. How troublesome is it to do it yourself? You are still too young. Yang Qi pretends to be mature and educates Yabai. The higher your level, the greater your daily expenses, and the more places you need to spend money, but the ways to make money are limited. Are there limited ways to make money? Why couldn't Yabai understand? When it comes to making money, isn't it just a matter of waking up with thousands of God of War achievements in your account? Could it be that, you don't have any mines at home? Yang Qi even used himself as an example. Some time ago, I hunted and killed the three-headed dog king of hell and the black lotus cloud tiger in the hell abyss plane, and only earned hundreds of war god merits. Death Song, your strength is even lower now, and you have to increase your income, cut your expenditure, and be diligent and thrifty. Yabai. It seemed like I heard something terrible. He suddenly remembered that the skeleton of the three-headed dog king of hell that he got smelled of cumin. It turns out to be your boy. As expected of seventh brother, hundreds of God of War merits, how much would that cost? Yabai sighed. Haha, Death Song, have you narrowed your horizons? Yankija smiled and said. You can ask me to hunt down the God of War monsters and extract the SSS level materials. This is the biggest expense. Yabai nodded in agreement. Indeed, it's hard to imagine how rich you need to be to do this. Having said all that, I am a 9th level God of War who has to work tirelessly for hundreds of God of War merits. Why don't you collect the trophies? Under the supervision of Yang Qi, Yabai reluctantly started scraping bone meal. He hadn't even scratched a few times before he was interrupted again by Yang Qi. Your work is too rough. Yang Qi felt that Yabai's collection efficiency was too low, so he took it upon himself to scrape off all the bone powder of several monsters in an instant. These bone meal can probably be smelted into 2 kilograms of C-grade ore. I'll give it to you, kid. Yabai accepted it sheepishly and asked curiously. Brother Qi, is this really good? How bad? Yang Qi snorted coldly. I have to hand over 30% of the spoils of this battle, so I gave Shura an advantage. I might as well give you more loot, kid. I find you more pleasing to my eye, unlike that guy Shura. Yang Qi muttered, as if he wanted to say something bad about Shura, but he didn't dare to say it directly. After muttering, she suddenly thought of something and asked. Death Song, you haven't used the Wind No Distance skill book, have you? Ye Bai said sincerely, no. He has never used any skill book. However, Ye Bai produced more than 50,000 copies. He swore that until the conversation with Yang Qi, everything he said was true, and not a single word he said deceived Yang Qi. That's good. Ahem, I mean. Yang Qi organized the language. This is a good thing. If you have a chance after the war, you must learn it. Death Song also cultivates the wind element, and wind's infinite distance is not an exaggeration to call it a magical skill for the wind element. Ye Bai nodded, okay. Another monster is coming. Yang Qi raised his eyebrows, he didn't expect monsters to come so frequently. Instantly, her expression changed. There are war god level monsters trying to break through. Apparently, things were moving faster than she expected. Strangely, there seemed to be a lot of monsters in the direction she was responsible for. Death Song, you guard this place and don't let the monsters pass. Yang Qi quickly explained. Behind you is the defense line organized by the brats from the summer camp. If there is a king of war monster that you can't handle, just send a signal for help and other shadows will come to support you. As he spoke, Yang Qi swept forward quickly, leaving behind shadows on the spot. Ye Bai shouted, Brother Qi, where are you? I'm going to kill a god of war. I'll come back as soon as I go. Ye Bai. Damn it, let her pretend. For this kind of war god level monster that wants to break through, it is best to strike first and rush into the abyss plane to kill it. After Yang Qi left, the responsibility of guarding fell on Ye Bai. If it is revealed that I am Shura, Yang Qi will die on the spot and will definitely hack me to death. Even if he is not hacked to death, he will be hacked to half-death. Ye Bai counted on his fingers. The heavenly thunder and the undistanced wind cannot be used, and the three-headed dog of hell and the black tiger cannot be summoned. Cerberus three-headed dog, yeah. Just when he was thinking about how to conceal his identity, a group of monsters rushed in front of Ye Bai, menacingly. The leading monster has a blood-color gem set between its eyebrows, which is the symbol of a first-order war king. The war king monster roared, kill out and you will be rewarded. Kill. The shouts of killing shook the sky and made people upset. Ye Bai raised his head and glanced at them, then waved his hand with the power of nature. Lightning storm. Level 30 is ready to go, and with the lightning storm Ye Bai learned to deal with group battles, it can instantly deal hundreds of billions of damage. Under the violent thunder, everything turned into ashes. The Battle King level monster was also instantly killed. Rumble. There was a thunderous sound from the front, and Feng Dong's face tightened. Attention everyone, prepare to meet the enemy. This movement must be at least a forbidden curse. Could it be that the War King is guarding the front? Zhou Spirit Machine nodded in agreement, if you're not the King of War, it's hard to make such a big fuss. According to the defense plan, the shadows are in charge of the front of us. An eager expression appeared on Feng Dong's face, let's go say hello and see who it is. I have several classmates who are also shadowing now, and it is said that they are all generals. Okay, you go and say hello. Fit nodded and said in a deep voice. Try and die. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 147. Eternal Forest, Periphery. After Yang Qi left, Ye Bai encountered several waves of monsters, all of which were easily dealt with by him. Of course, Ye Bai did not take it lightly and relax his vigilance. This war started because of Shura, and its scope and impact exceeded Yebai's expectations. Now he is facing only some low-level war king monsters, so the difficulty will naturally be much smaller. Even if these monsters have life-saving means, they are extremely limited. In fact, most of the monsters that rush into the Eternal Forest at this time are small roles like cannon fodder. There was nothing wrong with Ying Qi's previous judgment. The human race took the initiative to provoke a war, how could the Abyss Plane not respond? Both sides are accumulating energy to hold back their ultimate move. The appetizers haven't even been finished yet, so there's no reason to throw them away as soon as they're served. Yebai, who was left on the outskirts of the Eternal Forest, inspected his area of responsibility. He first set up many traps and formations along the way, and at the same time sent a message to Shadow 7 through his watch to avoid accidentally hurting his own people. After doing all this, Yebai set up a stand-in doll in a conspicuous place. The stand-in doll will imitate Yebai's movements, making it look like Yebai is casting a spell. With its ability to attract fire, Yebai was still worried and set up a hidden stand-in doll in the dark. This stand-in doll is more realistic, and even has a set of level 100 equipment on it, like an old coin hiding in the dark. It's a stand-in doll for stand-in dolls. Is this wave Yebai on the third floor? No. Yebai arranged a few more stand-ins, either overtly or covertly, to confuse the enemy. Finally, Yebai summoned the three-headed hell dog and the shadow of the black tiger. You two, change your appearance first. Dogs cannot be like dogs, and cats cannot be like cats. The three-headed hell dog barks softly. A dog can't be like a dog, so what does it look like? Does it look like you? It was the first time for Haihu to see such a strange side of Yebai, and he didn't know what to do for a while. Finally, under the guidance of Yebai, the three-headed hell dog hides one head and transforms into a two-headed wolf. The black tiger transformed into a frail sparrow. Very good, very good. Yebai nodded, very satisfied with his subordinate's sensibleness. You are responsible for guarding this stand-in doll. Act realistically. We will have chicken drumsticks for dinner. The two phantoms were assigned by Yebai to protect the most realistic dolls, and they looked real. In this way, Yebai felt that his sense of security had finally improved a little. After finishing his own security work, Yebai's early warning formation immediately gave a prompt. A large number of monsters appeared in the Eternal Forest and rushed in his direction. Unlike the previous monsters, this is the first time a monster appears in a system. The armor and equipment they wore were engraved with special crests. The sixth demon god, Bloodstained Legion. Yebai recognized the other party's origin at a glance. Hundreds of Tauren formed a sort of scout team, running towards them with red eyes and panting. Yebai's formation on the outermost edge was destroyed by their charge, without any effect of slowing down the speed. Wind Fury. Lightning Storm. Yebai didn't tolerate them either. His attack was full of damage, and more than 100 Tauren were immediately chopped into powder in the Sea of Thunder. Just when Yebai took action to kill the Tauren scout team. Not far away, several powerful monsters were paying close attention to the battlefield. Watching the Tauren being buried in the Sea of Thunder, the monsters present showed no emotion. No one sympathized with the Tauren. Cannon fodder is used for this. One of the Tauren with 9 gems on his forehead spoke and asked in a loud voice. According to the intelligence, who is guarding this direction? The bat monster, who was equally as powerful as him, was also a 9th level war king. He returned indifferently. It should have been Shadow 7 a week ago, but I don't know now. The bull-headed war king complained dissatisfiedly, we are like blind people, we don't know anything. All demonic sects have been uprooted. Those guys from the human race have long expected this day. A female voice sounded, and just hearing the voice was very charming. Okay, now that we're here, let's find a way to break out. Don't worry about casualties, There are so many of those little guys back home, and if they die, they will die. As for us, after this battle, as long as we have achieved enough military exploits, our Lord will rely on the source to resurrect us, no need to worry about it. There were a total of 4 9th-level war kings present. They led their men through some small and medium plains through the gaps in the human defense line and quietly came to the eternal forest. As long as they break through the defense line of the unknown strong man in front, they will be done. Do we have to break out from here? Bat War King spoke again. I feel vaguely uneasy. It might be easier to change the direction. If you feel that death is not fast enough, you can try. Shadow 7 is the weakest person guarding the eternal forest. The bull-headed War King and the Bat War King faced each other tit for tat. The two monsters were obviously very difficult to deal with. They serve different demon gods, and there are conflicts and frictions between the camps. It was only because of this war that they were forcibly paired together. Okay, sending monsters below the War King to fight will only waste time. Through previous waves of testing, they had a rough guess about the strength of the guards in this area. I just received information that Yang Qi appeared in the Golden Bone Abyss and was fighting the god of war. The person responsible for guarding now should be the War King within the shadow. No matter how powerful he is still weak. This is our only chance. A white ape War King, with white hair mixed with a lot of gold threads, holding a spear, said in a deep voice. Don't hide it, otherwise when Yang Qi comes back, we will be dead. If you fail to make military exploits, then your death will be in vain. I don't need to emphasize this truth, right? 4 king-level abyss monsters with different tempers, but no problem with their brains. The demons quickly reached an agreement. Find the Watcher and kill him. Crush out of the Eternal Forest and build an abyss passage. This area of the Eternal Forest is very special. It cannot be teleported or build a new abyss passage. Achieving either of these two goals can be considered a gain. They are fully aware of their fate. Since the 30-year bloody war, every monster that sets foot in the Eternal Forest cannot return alive. However, the demon god can rely on their origins in the abyss plane and pay a certain price to resurrect them. After resurrection, they can even break through to higher realms. This is also the reason why the 4 9th-level demon clan war kings are willing to appear on the front line. Certainly. Resurrection also has conditions. You must achieve military exploits. You go straight to the battlefield for nothing and you still want to be resurrected? The devil is not a philanthropist, he is more like the inventor of blessings. To be resurrected, one of two conditions must be met. 1. Build a complete abyss passage, which is also the most important task of their trip. 2. Kill the king-level warriors of the human race, or 10 genius seeds. The 4 war kings briefly discussed and immediately came up with a plan. The next wave of attacks consisted of 10 warrior kings leading nearly 100 warrior generals to charge forward. The stormtroopers are mainly composed of the subordinates of White Ape and Bullhead. And the other demons' men are sneaking in the dark, looking for the Guardian, waiting for an opportunity to assassinate him. As for the 4 9th-level war kings, they will take action at the appropriate time based on their own judgment. Without further ado, kill. Hundreds of figures charged forward again, and light blue shields appeared on many monsters. When the Thunder Sea appears again, these light blue shields block the lightning and bounce the damage to other monsters. Rush. In the Sea of Thunder, 10 War King monsters were unharmed, and with the remaining 20-odd generals, they crashed into many traps set by Yebai. Thunder immunity. Yebai, who was hiding in a dark place, also looked tense. Being immune to lightning, Yebai was not surprised, but rather it was reasonable. Under the observation of Eye of Insight, no secret can be hidden from Yebai. Not only were dozens of monsters charging in the open, but there were also 2 groups of monsters covering their bodies in the dark, rushing in at extremely fast speeds. It's not the cannon fodder from before. The other party wants to rush out of the defense line in one fell swoop. Behind Yebai was a defense line formed by the seniors from the summer camp. The warrior-level monsters can still be dealt with. After all, there are many of them and their strength is not bad. If you miss the Battle King level monster, even if you can defend it, you will suffer heavy casualties. Yebai drew out the Heavenly King's sword and looked at the monsters around him with slightly cold eyes. Not even a war king can leave the eternal forest alive. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 148. Facing the encirclement and suppression by the war king and generals, Yebai knew very well that he had no qualifications to keep his cards. Wind Fury. 30 layers were quickly stacked and ready for use. Yebai pointed at the war king who looked like a bat in the darkness. Thunder. Boom. The red lightning struck out instantly, hitting the third-level war king and chopping him into ashes. It's not finished yet. After the second job change, Tianli gained an advanced effect. When you use Sky Thunder to kill an enemy, it will automatically bounce to the next target, causing 50% damage. The damage caused by Yebai's release of the Sky Thunder was nearly 100,000, and with 30 layers of ready-to-go superpositions, it amounted to hundreds of billions of horrific damage. Even if it is weakened by 50%, there is still 50 trillion to start with, which is enough to kill the King of War instantly. The red Sky Thunder looks for the next target. There is no suspense, another instant kill. Boom. The Sky Thunder kept jumping and killed 7 or 8 bat monsters in the blink of an eye. It wasn't until a white ape took the initiative to break out and relied on its own magic immunity shield to resist the thunder that the massacre was stopped. Damn it! The Bat Demon King, a 9th-level war king, suffered heavy losses among his men just once. The war king suffered all casualties, which meant that the results he could gain in the future were limited. The Bat Demon King was instantly furious. The black shadow passes by and sends out sharp sound waves. Use range skills directly. Boom. Several stand-in dolls arranged by Yebai could not withstand the damage and exploded directly. The other stand-in dolls temporarily escaped disaster by relying on the life-saving props placed by Yebai. Even so, most of their positions are exposed and they become targets for the demons to set fire to. Yebai glanced at it and saw that his shield also dropped rapidly, dropping by a total of 20 billion in one breath. There are less than 40 billion left. After unleashing the attack just now, the Bat Demon King obviously suffered a lot of wear and tear himself, and his spirit was listless. The Evermark Forest has been specially arranged by Nightmare to have a suppressive effect on the demons. 100% of the output can only be used here at less than 10%. Skills within the range are suppressed even more severely. Skills with a diameter of 100 meters are suppressed to a range of 1 meter. Otherwise, with just one strike from the 9th-level War King Bat Demon King, he could instantly kill everyone below the War King in the entire Eternal Forest. At the same time, the demon detection skills are ineffective in the Eternal Forest, so they must use their demon life to find their way. After all, this is the home ground of the human race, so it is reasonable to have many restrictions. Basketball and football are played at home and away games. It would be a joke if these monsters were allowed to run rampant in the Eternal Forest. Of course, such a blow not only consumes a lot of money for the Bat Demon, but also has a huge impact on his teammates. Many monsters' eardrums burst and dark red blood oozed out. Beat up my allies. These guys have never cooperated much before, and their cooperation is comparable to that of a chef. Yebai seized the moment and struck hard. Wind's infinite distance. Wind Fury. Spark. The moment it turned into a breeze, Yebai threw a spark of fire at a bull demon warrior. Stars of fire lit up on the bull demon war general. He was the weakest demon in the field and Yebai's carefully selected target. Ah! The Tauren wailed, I'm dead. It was burned to ashes in an instant, and at the cool moment when the ashes were flying, the starfire mark was passed to other Tauren. As if the previous scene was repeated, the fire light passed between the bull demon and the white ape. Once killed by spark mark will spread twice as much. The fire is getting stronger and stronger. The 9th level war king, the white ape demon king, roared angrily. Quickly put out this fire. But here's the trouble. Once the spark is ignited, the weakest person will be the breakthrough point. Once the starfire mark is stacked up, the kill line will be even higher. What's more, there is a human war king spying secretly and will take action to harvest lives at any time. The current situation is extremely difficult. The leading demon kings made a prompt decision. Kill these wastes that are holding you back. For a moment. Among the subordinates carried by the 4 demon kings, those whose strength is lower than that of the war king are all cut off. Just to stop the transmission of spark. Isolate all fuel. The fire will not ignite? Yebai's face changed, so cruel. Monsters certainly have many weaknesses, such as disunity and infighting. It is precisely because of this that they have a strong sense of class dominance and can dispose of their subordinates at will during battle. Without the superposition space, Starfire Mark could not directly kill the low-level War King and gradually extinguished. After several rounds of fighting, Yebai made a move, and the Demon Kings saw their moves. All generals died due to various reasons. More than half of the War Kings under the White Ape Demon King and the Minotaur Demon King were killed or injured, and their fighting power was greatly reduced while they were still alive. The Bat War King was the worst. Yebai fired a thunderbolt and basically killed most of the Bat War King. After that, his generals were killed by him again, and now he only has one Bat War King left. Among the 4 Demon Kings, only the Shadow Fox Demon King has the most complete preservation of his strength. Shadow Fox is hiding in the darkness and has not yet appeared. While paying a high price, the results achieved by the Demon Kings are also very gratifying. They have already reached half the distance. If they continue to move forward, they will be able to break out of the Eternal Forest. The most important thing is that the strength of the 4 Demon Kings has not been compromised in any way. Perhaps there is a last line of defense ahead. However, there is nothing to fear. Just as they were moving forward at full speed, light suddenly burst out from under the feet of a White Ape War King. He broke into the trap set by Yebai in advance, and 10 scrolls created by the God of War were triggered one after another. The flash of light that burned everything exploded, instantly flooding everyone's vision, and many monsters' eyes exploded. Ah! My titanium alloy 3 million bat eyes. Before a Bat War King could wail, a gust of breeze blew by, and the sword light fell. Wind's infinite distance. Stop the water flow. After fighting and running away, Yebai felt really excited. The power of the series of traps laid by Yebai should have killed all the War Kings present when triggered. Even the 4 leading Demon Kings are in doom. The moment the scroll took effect, a green bead appeared in the hand of the Shadow Fox Demon King, and she crushed it decisively. Their initial plan was to force their way into Ying Qi's defense line. How could the 4 Demon Kings not be prepared at all? Each of them carries more or less treasures rewarded by the devil, as well as powerful props that they have accumulated over the years. After the green beads were broken, the green light shrouded all the monsters, resisting damage for them and restoring their health. Their blood volume is like riding a roller coaster, with ups and downs, and even if they hit the bottom, they will be filled up. There was only one Bat War King whose health dropped to the bottom. The forbidden healing effect of cutting water prevented him from recovering his life, and the damage directly filled him up, taking away his life. Green light restored its health, but could not remove various debuffs, and the movement speed of all monsters became extremely slow. Yebai took a quick glance at the 4 Demon Kings in the field. Shadow Fox is the most difficult to deal with, so kill him last. The bat paid a lot of price for releasing the forbidden spell before. It is the most mobile and poses the greatest threat to me. Yebai quickly locked his target Bat Demon King. Of course, there is another important reason. The 4 Demon Kings all have lightning immunity, and Shadow Fox carries permanent lightning immunity. White Ape and Tauren are immune to lightning damage for 3 hours. Only the Bat Demon King carries lightning immunity based on the number of times he carries it. Resist 50 times of lightning damage. Yabai hid in the dark and controlled a stand-in doll to cast spells. 5 Lightning Whips. For this ambush, Yabai learned a lot of 3 series skills, but the effects were very average, and he spent most of his time just making up the numbers. The damage of the 5-shot lightning whip is very low and has only one effect: more hits. Anyway, the opponent is immune to lightning attacks, so just scrape him. The electric arc repeatedly jumps on the Bat Demon King, consuming his lightning immunity times. An anxious look appeared on his ugly bat face, and he clearly knew that once the lightning immunity times were exhausted, he would not be able to protect himself. Waving his wings, he tried to lunge forward in the air, but it seemed as if he had fallen into a quagmire and was unable to move forward at all. The slowing buff of the God of War scroll was superimposed with the suppression of the Eternal Forest, restricting him to death. The Bat Demon King retreated to the next best thing and swept backwards, trying to escape back to the abyss. Stinky Bat, if you dare to escape, I will kill you first after my resurrection. The White Ape Demon King was furious and roared again and again. The Bat Demon King ignored him and insisted on having his own way. His lightning magic immunity times have been exhausted. If he doesn't run away, he will die. The strange thing is that there are only a few times left to break through his immunity, but the King of War, who was hiding in secret, stopped. He couldn't control that much anymore. The Bat Demon King had to increase his speed to the extreme if he escaped from the influence of the deceleration buff. Crackling. The 5 lightning whips are here again. This time, Yabai came prepared. After many layers of preparation, Yabai released his lightning blessing, preparing to kill the Bat Demon King in one go. Number of thunder immunity, 0. A number appears on the Bat Demon King. Just in time, Yabai's effect of hitting every target was superimposed for the 100th time. Will be in. Thunder. Red thunder and lightning appeared on the battlefield again. In an instant, everything turned pale, and only this thunder and lightning lasted forever. Seeing that there was no way to escape, the extremely panicked Bat Demon suddenly changed his face at the moment when the red thunder and lightning appeared. A sinister smile formed on his lips. You took the bait, you idiot. The red lightning engulfed the Bat Demon King. The damage was so terrifying that even if he had many life-saving means, he would not be able to survive. While suffering hundreds of billions of damage, a layer of thorns appeared on the surface of the Bat Demon King. He has been acting just for this moment. Thorn Gem reflects 100% of damage. The type of damage depends on the damage received. Let's die together, by the damage of your proudest thunder element. The Bat Demon King roared in his heart. He didn't panic at all, and even wanted to laugh a little. This opponent is too immature. There is no challenge at all. The Bat Demon King can be resurrected completely by the Demon God, and his military exploits in killing the opponent are definitely enough to resurrect him. And after this horrific damage rebounds, the other party will never be able to withstand it. Boom! A red thunderbolt with thorns bounced back to Yabai, dealing huge damage. 0. I have a thunder spirit, which makes me immune to lightning damage. Yabai's figure disappeared from the place, watching coldly as the Bat Demon King turned to ashes in unwillingness. You must be dumbfounded. Yabai had already seen through the opponent's trump card, so he naturally had ways to deal with it. After all the hard work, he killed the Bat Demon King. Yabai looked at the field again, pursed his lips, and suppressed the excitement in his body. 3 left. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 149. After the death of the Bat Demon King, the Bat clan that broke into the Eternal Forest was completely destroyed. His last thought of changing things for one was like a mirror, falling into the void. Yabai hid in the darkness and continued to stare at his prey. 3 9th-level War Kings, 6 intermediate-level War Kings, 14 low-level War Kings. There are still 23 War Kings left in the field. There are still some War Kings from the Shadow Fox Demon clan who are far away and have not joined the battle. Even so, it was very difficult for Yabai to deal with it. The killing of the God of War scroll came to an end, and the green light on the monsters slowly faded away. However, the slowness buff still exists, and many War Kings move forward like a movie in slow motion. Smart as Stinky Bat. The Minotaur Demon King grinned and cursed, with a bit of gloating. The Bat Demon King was beheaded before he could even accomplish anything. This also means that he has no chance of resurrection. The rabbit dies and the fox is sad. The remaining 3 Demon Kings couldn't help but think of themselves. If they die tragically like the Bat Demon King, the outcome won't be much better. Don't waste time, you've had enough fun. 2 white vapors came out of the Minotaur's nostrils, like a long dragon. Do you really want to be defeated here? The longer it takes, the more dangerous it becomes. When Shadow 7 returns from the Golden Bone Abyss, we will be dead. Their breakout on this trip was a collaboration in itself. First, a War God level monster was sent to the Golden Bone Abyss plane to make a feint attack to attract Yang Chi's attention and lure the tiger away from the mountain. After that, the 4 Demon Kings broke out with their men. The only fly in the ointment is that they underestimated the combat power within the Shadow organization. An unknown War King restrained the 4 Demon Kings and even killed one of them. I always have a question. The Shadow Fox Demon King said to himself. Is the one who stopped us really the War King? She comes from the Shadow Fox clan and should have miraculous effects on people in the shadows. But so far, they have been at a disadvantage and can only be beaten passively. Definitely not the God of War. The White Ape Demon King said in a deep voice. The Eternal Forest arranged by the Nightmare has many restrictions on monsters like us, and it also restricts the strong human beings everywhere. It is precisely for this reason that Shadow is most suitable for guarding the Eternal Forest. For an ordinary human God of War, entering the Eternal Forest will only cause chaos. Shadow Fox Demon King shook her head. She didn't mean that. She had a bold idea in her mind. If it were true, it would be too crazy. Forget it, let's take it one step at a time. The Shadow Fox Demon King shook his head and put aside the crazy speculation for the time being. She thought it was ridiculous. Could it be that Shura, the most powerful seed and the hope for human race's revival, would be placed on such a dangerous battlefield? That would be too childish. At the moment, the most important thing for them is to break out of the Eternal Forest, no matter who the enemy is hidden in the dark. Judging from the methods the opponent has now exposed, with the ultra-high damage caused by the Thunder system, even a 9th-level War King would find it difficult to resist. Most of the monsters present have lightning magic immunity, which can be regarded as abolishing the opponent's strongest method. Thinking of this, the Shadow Fox Demon King looked at the 2 monsters. They were not immune to lightning. You 2, stay here and wait to die. The White Ape Demon King said it simply, without the lightning magic immunity, there is no possibility of getting out alive. The fact was just as he suspected. Before the monsters had taken a few steps, the thunder came again and killed 2 War King level monsters. Although they were immune to lightning magic, they were still a little frightened. This output ability was too terrifying. The key is to still hide in the dark and make secret moves from time to time. Don't be afraid, we can ignore lightning damage, there is nothing to be afraid of. The Minotaur Demon King cheered himself up. He only has fire skills left without superimposition, so the damage is simply not enough. In the previous battles, the strength of the hidden human race masters was also completely revealed by them. Brave Niu Niu is not afraid of difficulties. A group of monsters struggled forward. The good news is that the deceleration buff released by the God of War scroll is about to expire, and they will be able to speed up soon. Bad news, there is no bad news. Huh. A white ape war king lowered his head and looked at his feet in confusion. Where did the ants come from? The ants were fiery red and looked very much like a type of fire poisonous ant from the abyss. In fact, this is a special variety cultivated by Blue Star University, with the original intention of developing a method to control the existence of fire poisonous ants. As a result, a kind of ant monster was accidentally produced, called the fire ant. Fire extinguisher ant looks similar to the fire poisonous ant, but has only one characteristic: it can withstand fire damage at 100%. Not only did the fire ants fail to control the poisonous fire ants, but they were actually restrained by the poisonous fire ants. Simply put, this project was scrapped. There is no value and billions of research dollars have been wasted. But just 2 days ago, the project team that was about to be disbanded received an order to purchase 100 million ants in batches. And one of the first batch of 1 million delivered was at the feet of the White Ape War King. Ant nest. More and more ants emerged from the ground. When the 3 demon kings didn't come, they began to panic, and the warning in their hearts became stronger and stronger. It seems that great terror and danger are about to come. What went wrong? They were making crazy calculations in their minds, checking their own situation. The lightning magic immunity was still there, which gave them a lot of peace of mind. But this peace of mind is obviously unnecessary. When they saw the first ant on fire, they immediately understood what was happening. Run! A roar broke the silence over the eternal forest. Late. Boom! Like a miniature volcano erupting, the ant nest buried underground exploded, and countless sparks floated into the sky, like a rain of fire. Fire trees and silver flowers kill demons like hemp. The fire ant has a starfire mark on its body. These millions of ants, with 100% additional fire damage, are the best fuel for spark. It was as if the dry grass filled with gasoline was instantly ignited and burst into flames. Crackling. The fire ants were roasted one after another, and there was even a strange aroma permeating the air, which was the unique smell of burning protein. This scene became a nightmare for all the monsters present. These ants are the killing trap set by Yebai. The monsters have already tasted the suffering of spark fire before. At that time, they made a prompt decision, cut their losses in time, and killed all the general level subordinates before stopping the fire. It's just that the monsters didn't think about one thing. Just because they took the initiative to cut off fuel doesn't mean that Yebai didn't prepare fuel. Yebai has long known that the abyss monsters are superimposing lightning magic resistance. He would naturally also think that most of the enemies encountered this time would be immune to lightning damage. Everything must be considered from the worst perspective. In this situation, Yebai checked around and found that he only had one way to kill the King of War, Spark. Yebai formulated many tactics around Spark. Since I have decided to roast you to death, I must bring my own fuel. Extinguishing fire ants is one of Yebai's trump cards. Yebai is professional when it comes to cremation. Spark mark, one is passed to 2, and the other is passed to 4, spreading exponentially among millions of fire ants. When these fireballs exploded in front of the monsters, they were already doomed. A single spark has turned into a prairie fire. Boom! Surrounded by a ring of fire, the monster that was already a war king was ignited in flames, its health bar was emptied, and it melted instantly. In the distance, in the darkness, Yebai looked at the many monsters melting in the fire, and even the blood volume of the 3 demon kings was rapidly declining. There was a blazing fire in his pupils. Jumping, flickering, dancing, bursting, burning, and ultimately reduced to ashes. Fire is dancing. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 150. In the raging fire, the war kings of the demon clan were the first to be unable to hold on and fell down one after another. Only the 3 demon kings are still persisting, relying on the various life-saving means they carry. Yabai went on a shopping spree in Wanwu Pavilion to save his life. These demon kings, who have been fighting for many years, are only one step away from the god of war, and they must have more than one life. While being burned by the fire, the 3 demon kings kept taking action to kill all the ants that were not on fire to prevent the fire from spreading. But, it's too late. The white ape demon king was burned into a skeleton, but he still refused to give up. He used various secret methods and props to survive for a while. But the damage of spark fire has been superimposed, and no matter how many tricks he uses, he can't escape death. Roar. The white ape demon king let out a miserable roar. Help me. The other 2 demon kings were unmoved and even took the initiative to distance themselves from the white ape demon king. The meaning is clear. Stay away and don't hurt us. If I die, you won't even think about it easy. In the last moments of his life, the white ape demon king fell into the madness that followed. If you want to die, let's all die together. He smashed his arm bones, and the bone powder flew all over the sky, transforming into little monkeys one after another. These little monkeys have no attack power, move very fast, and are very useless in themselves. However, in the current scene, the little monkey can serve as fuel. You'll all die. The 2 skull holes in the skull of the white ape demon king are emitting red light, trying to pull everyone into the water. Of course, he was so crazy not just to harm the other 2 demon kings. But, if these little monkeys are used to spread the damn fire, it will also be a kind of harm to the human race. An ordinary war king cannot bear it at all. If you are lucky and kill a few more human genius seeds, he will have a chance to be resurrected. The bones were shattered one after another, turning into little monkeys all over the sky, and the white ape demon king was burned to death. The Minotaur demon king also roared and began to run wildly. He has reached the last moment of his life. If he can break out of the eternal forest, he still has a chance to survive. Under the observation of the Eye of Insight, Yabai could clearly see that the Minotaur demon king no longer had any means to save his life. Ignite. Yabai made the right move. Fatal ignition. When a creature carrying Starfire Mark takes additional fire damage, it will directly detonate all Starfire Mark, causing extremely high burst damage. Boom. The upper body of the bull-headed demon king exploded instantly, and the free-for-nothing roast beef seemed to be flying all over the sky. The lower body, relying on inertia, is still galloping. He actually let him run out. However, the Starfire mark on his body was cleared, and the remains of the roasted cow were very mature and posed no threat. Yabai let the half-cow leave. He still has a mess to clean up before him. The Shadow Fox Demon King persisted the longest and used a secret method at the same time. She herself suffered the damage of Starfire Mark, but her blood volume was very healthy. However, not far away, the War King of the Shadow Fox clan was always killed or injured. Transferred the damage. Not only that, the Shadow Fox Demon King even directly changed places with one of his subordinates, allowing the other person to die on his behalf. More than 20 Demon War Kings were killed and injured, and the Shadow Fox Demon King escaped with only half his life. Erupting from the ant pile, a spark of fire began to spread to 3 Demon Kings, 2 died and 1 escaped. All this happened in the blink of an eye. No more than 30 seconds before and after. The death trap carefully laid out by Yabai was exploited to the extreme and he gained a lot. At the same time, Yabai also faced a thorny problem. Before his death, the White Ape Demon King transformed into millions of monkey descendants, trying to spread the fire. Set the mountain on fire, you won't want to eat this food. Yabai looked at the monkeys and grandsons in the sky, opened the box he had prepared, and countless mosquitoes flew out. These mosquitoes are also excellent products cultivated by universities. They do not avoid cold and heat, and have strong cold and high temperature tolerance. They can bite and reproduce in spring, summer, autumn, and winter. When he saw these mosquito information for the first time in Wanwu Pavilion, Yebai's blood pressure instantly rose. Who can have nothing to do but add this kind of buff to mosquitoes? Soon, the leaves smell really fragrant. These mosquitoes have no other function. They are used to block sparks of fire, and they are very good at it. The mosquitoes released by Yabai at this time have the effect of being immune to fire damage. If sparks of fire fall on them, they will be extinguished quickly. He has always been meticulous in his work. Now that I thought of using spark fire to trap and kill the enemy, I naturally also thought of how to deal with it if the enemy defeated me. Like the White Ape Demon King, spreading the fire will always cause some damage. Even if it doesn't kill people, it's not good if it burns the flowers and plants. The overwhelming mosquitoes surrounded the monkeys. The spark mark was continuously transmitted to the mosquitoes and then extinguished. The fire expected by the White Ape Demon King was extinguished before it even started. The remaining monkey, Hyosun, who had not yet been ignited, was also ejected and taken away by Yabai. Finish and call it a day. Looking at the mess everywhere and the remains left by the monsters, Yabai, who was hiding in the dark, felt a sense of accomplishment, but he did not clean up the loot immediately. Instead, he began to rearrange the stand-in dolls and replace life-saving props. Fight thousands of times, save your life first. Yabai, who was busy, was very happy. Every time he arranged another layer, he felt that his sense of security increased a little. Well. Yabai couldn't help but sigh in his heart. The 46 minutes and 53 seconds that Master Ju was not around, I missed him. I always feel like I've forgotten something. Let me think about it. Yabai thought about it and didn't feel that he had missed anything. The life-saving index is also very stable now. Yabai did not intend to hunt down the escaped Shadow Fox Demon King. Don't chase after a poor enemy, especially such a needy and evil existence. In Yebai's home court, he dared to fight the King of War from afar. Chasing the King of War? Take a shower and go to sleep. After sorting out the entire battle process, Yabai was sure that he had not missed anything. Until he saw a black cloud drifting behind him. The mosquitoes he used to put out fires were not afraid of high temperatures or extreme cold. Flew away. Fly towards the defense line where the seniors of the summer camp are. Yabai. Ahem, they should have pesticides, right? Well, I should. Yabai turned his head and looked at his nose with his eyes, his mouth with his nose, and his heart with his mouth. Nothing happened. The defense line built by Feng Dong and others has now begun to take shape. Feng Dong even praised Haikao. Don't worry, not even a mosquito can fly through it. No monster from the abyss has ever broken out of the eternal forest. They didn't dare to let down their guard and were always on guard. Coming. Feet, who had been keeping his ear to the ground, suddenly stood up. Battle King level monsters, very fast. As he spoke, he swallowed. Good smell. Soon, Feng Dong could understand these two words. Good smell? What does that mean? It didn't take long before half a roasted whole cow appeared in everyone's sight, and Feng Dong suddenly realized it. Some people are still in shock, while others have their knives and forks ready. Follow me. Feet led a group of people and rushed forward, directly intercepting the roasted half-ox. Chase and chew. This is the meat of a War King level monster, and it is a great tonic in itself. It was also roasted thoughtfully, so it wouldn't be a waste if you didn't eat it. Fit understands the good intentions of the seniors of the human race in the eternal forest and will never let him down. Just when Feng Dong's face was full of black lines, feet, carrying a cow's hind leg, rushed back and said in a deep voice. Is it true that even a mosquito can't fly through it? Of course. Feng Dong is very confident in the defense line arranged by Zhou Lingmao, and he will do what he says. Good. Fit nodded and pointed behind him. Here come billions of mosquitoes. The black cloud was buzzing, covering the sky and the sun, and was mighty. For a moment, Feng Dong felt a little desperate. Where did the mosquitoes come from?